You know when you'll give up even raw veganism? You know when you start giving that up? Like as far as going from chewing food to going into liquids. Not like regressing and going into cooked foods. I'm not saying that. Or I will get into that, I guess. Let's get into that a little bit too. Why not? The whole psychopath. What I had noticed years in, you just realize, like, depending on where you are, of course, the common denominator being that we are born naked. So wherever we can live naked is more conducive to our nature and bringing about our nature. And we will have to do other things within, or we can choose without, however we want to do it. We get to the same result. You know, whether it'll feel like eternity if we take the hard road, because it's the hard road, and then we get there and we have the beastly satisfaction of still making it, I guess. But still, like as far as the compensation factor, it was always like May would roll around, it'd be spring, I'd be totally ready to just quit food, like pretty much right now, ready to quit food. It's always a time, you always have your space when you can do it. Time is space. I got other videos about how time is space, but whatever. You got space where you can quit food, like pretty much get catapulted. I got another video about that, like a quantum loop, like a quantum jump and learning, a quantum leap and learning. Those leaps come around a few times a year. Usually it can have, you can force it right now if you just went straight into fasting, but there's times when it's a lot easier to do it. Like, of course, the spring and the fall, you have balanced light. You don't have to do that much air conditioning. Air conditioning is mind control, by the way. Air conditioning, controlling the thoughts, air conditioning. So what the chemtrails thing is about, air conditioning is mind control. So your breathing controls your mind. Your mind is your body. They're the same thing, but one coin, two sides. So your breathing is your air conditioning. You can do it externally and pay for those forms of air conditioning because you're compensating for fire in the winter when there's minimal light, or in the summer when there's abundance of fire and not much darkness. You deal with those extremes that come with that. You're chasing earthly goods in that, all that light, you will become dehydrated because you have to compensate for chasing the lust, the earthly goods in all that light. So instead of catching up on your breathing and realizing what you don't need to begin with. So because if you allow your breath to catch you, then you allow life to show you yourself in the truest form. And then that less is more in all cases. So to get into this, people will compensate at different points in a year. It's not anything to be sad about in your first few years of being a vegan. You might fall to cook foods in the winter and things like that, and it'll be easier in the summer and the spring. Maybe spring might still be difficult depending on where you're at too. But fall is probably easier, and then winter, could get tough. So you're compensating in different ways. It's just laziness, not catching up with the breathing. Because again, if you're breathing in the day, you're getting fire. You want to breathe at night too, you can still transmute and turn on the fire within. But this is all a process of really focusing on the now, focusing on the breathing, and giving yourself your just due, really. Because you're self-determined, self-determines. But at the same time, when you're speaking yourself into existence, you're quantifying yourself, you're creating a shell, you're creating imprisonment. Definition is imprisonment. People don't really want to be understood. When you're understood, it's like, well, at that point, what is there really left to learn? When like that, at that point, you've transcended beyond those lessons. And those lessons basically being problems, which you are the answer to. Because, of course, life is a test that you know the answer to. So you're controlling your temperature all year with your breath. And that's controlling your temperament. So tempers flare, and that will create emotional exhaustion at different points in the year. And it all has to do with the balancing of the elements. So we see the further we get from our nature, the further we get from our nature. And ROYALT512 at yahoo.com for the PDFs. R-Bud Vegan on Amazon for the ebooks. Jesus Christ 19 on IG. Taylor Bud is the Facebook parasite. So yeah, check it out, check it in. And yeah, just notice your grand cycles to obliterate them. That's really what it comes down to. Just stepping back above the duality of the, dissolving the dual in duality, unifying the yin and the yang within you, and obliterating that incompleteness. It's really incomplete of you to be like, I'm a man, I'm a woman. It's identifying with being incomplete. So, yeah.